All right, let's talk about the top 3 challenges facing sexually abused men. Now, if you're nervous watching this video because of the subject matter, because you don't want anyone to know maybe that it's an issue for you, I'm going to help you out. Simply click on the link below and download the PDF. Now, for those that are still with me, please hang on until the end, and I have some extra bonus material for you. All right, challenge number 1, admitting and defining what happened to you. Now, the reason this is the top challenge is because when we start talking about this subject and using terms like unwanted sexual experiences, sexual abuse, incest, rape, sexual assault, although we're discussing a reality, we're speaking of an issue that is taboo. Now, please notice I did use several different words to define what occurred, and that makes it equally challenging because there are various ways in which it occurred. But one key to healing is how you define what happened, because how you define it is a main factor in helping to determine your approach to reclaiming and recovering your life. For example, your situation, was it overt or covert? Forced, groomed, seduced? See, in defining what happened, how did the perpetrator use the power differential in the situation or relationship to exploit you to satisfy their needs and wants? If you were a child or an adolescent, but you felt that you caused it or you were responsible, let me ask you a question to ponder as you ascertain your definition of what happened. Were you able to understand the emotional implications of the sexual behavior, the acts involved with an adult or the person who abused you? Here's another question. Developmentally, were you capable of even understanding what this meant? As you can see, the subject is very difficult and often very complex. Okay, so challenge number 2. What happened to you? What occurred? Or the abuse? How does it affect you today? Now, the reality is that we all might react differently when it comes to dealing with the sexual abuse. But we do notice that there are common psychological traumas that many survivors actually experience. So here is a survivor that I coached, and he shared with us how it was actually affecting him on a daily basis.
I had problems with trust. I had depression. There were a lot of symptoms on the outside. Substance abuse, alcoholism, I was huge. Promiscuity, intimacy issues. I had trouble with...
Notice the things that he shared. So he talked about intimacy issues. For him, there was substance abuse, alcohol issues. He talked about promiscuity and trust issues. So there were varieties of ways in which the sexual abuse affected his life. I remember even coaching some executives who we would consider high-functioning trauma survivors. And when you look at their life, you would think, wow, I don't see any trauma. But when you start diving into their leadership styles, you would notice that there was low emotional intelligence. You would notice things like the leadership styles that they used were possibly coercive, or they would have problems really leading their teams. And when we dived a little bit into it, what they found out was that there were still effects of the sexual abuse that they were dealing with that day. I remember working with one person, and we had a hard time even just getting him out of the house. He wouldn't leave the house. And after coaching with him for about 18 months and doing some breakthrough coaching, well, not only did we get him out of the house, he started exercising, and then before you know it, he wins the Mexico Triathlon competition. So challenge number 2, how is it still affecting you today? Okay, challenge number 3, finding a safe place to disclose. Now look, let's be real, especially during our political climate right now and with the things that are going on. It might be really difficult for survivors to disclose because one of the issues you're trying to figure out, am I going to be ridiculed? Are people going to think of me as less of a man or masculine if I share that I've been sexually abused? But it's important for you to find that environment where you can share in a safe environment your experience and what happened to you. It's important for you to find a place where you will be believed. It's important for you to find a place where you be supported and a place where you will be accepted. But there's one caveat I want to give to you, and this for most of the survivors that are out there, and that is that just disclosing your story is not the end, but it is the beginning. It's the beginning of your journey. So, if you need a place, of course, you know that I'm here, but make sure that you find yourself a therapist, a counselor, a coach, someone who can work with you at the level that you're at and help you continue to work through to reclaim your life from the sexual abuse. Now, I did tell you that if you hung in there, I was going to give you something extra. So this is what I want you to do for those that want it. So if you send me email at Empower Survivors, that's the letter M, Power Survivors at gmail.com, I'm going to send you an extra report, and it's called the 3 Steps to Accelerate Your Healing Journey. But wait a minute, that's not all. So when you send me that email, I'm also going to include a link in the email. And the link is actually going to be to one of my courses online, which is Defining the Sexual Abuse, and how defining that will help you to speed your recovery. Right? That was the first thing that we talked about. So I actually have a course on that I believe will help you. So you know what? I want to encourage you on your journey. I want to let you know that you are not alone. And I want to let you know that if you need the support, go to empowersurvivors.com and we'll do what we can to help you.